ISI with whom I was once working as a third generation Pakistan Army officer. Only because I was a whistleblower and I was, exposing the crimes against humanity in my country. They got my channels on YouTube terminated, and they said that there was a live stream of about 5 hours, which I did with Pakistan's leading journalists who dissent from what's happening right now. What law are you talking about, Geeta? There is no law in Pakistan but martial law. And once the army chief decides that he's got to do something, he's gonna do it. My brother-in-law has to torture my sister and send her back home and snatch her son. They're gonna do it, and they did it.
So you can never go back to Pakistan, your homeland.
Yeah, my homeland, where my mother is, who got abducted by them and who is kept hostage in Pakistan. All right, so that I don't go and see her. That is.
She's not allowed to leave. She's not allowed to leave Pakistan.
No, she's practically under house arrest. Her passports have been cancelled. She was abducted on her way to the airport once she was leaving the country. They went ahead and they court-martialed me in absentia and gave me 14 years rigorous imprisonment for the violation of Official Secret Act, and started serving me this is just one of the file of the notices I am getting. All right, this is just one of the file.
What happens when a man in Pakistan wants to speak truth to power? What happens when a man has to leave that country and live in exile? What happens when he has to leave his services and then follow what he thinks is right for Pakistan? I'm being joined by Major Adil Raja. He's no longer in the army, but he has served in Pakistan, now lives in exile because he's questioned the Pakistani army. And he continues to now, as a journalist in London, question what's happening in Pakistan. And what does he get in return? He gets a defamation case. What is the case all about? Is this muzzling by the Pakistani ISI? And how is the Pakistani administration doing it? To discuss all this and more, I'm being joined by Adil Raja himself. Thank you so much for doing this, Adil. It is a very tough one. You've had a tough few months, so to say. First, just break it down for us. What is this case that you've been fighting against the administration in London?
Thank you, Geeta, for this introduction. Well, you see, it's not been tough few months, but tough few years, I would say, because the defamation case started in the August of 2022, and it is going to trial next week, starting Monday, 21st of July 2025. And it is a strategic lawsuit against public participation. It is part of the lawfare launched against me by the Pakistani military establishment and its intelligence arm, the ISI, with whom I was once working as a third generation Pakistan Army officer. And this lawfare is making use of UK's relaxed libel laws, which favor the claimant, and that is why UK and London in particular is called the libel tourism capital of the world. And that's not me or you saying it. That's Geoffrey Robertson, the King's Counsel, in his book Lawfare, How the Rich and the Government Try to Prevent Free Speech. He writes this, and it is a well-established fact that lawfare in the UK is launched by the rich and powerful. If you got 1 to 3 million British pounds to spare, you can silence anyone in the UK, and that is why it is called the libel tourism capital of the world. For the details, you'll have to read the book Lawfare by Geoffrey Robertson. I've just quoted, but I'm just going to give you a very brief background that before this libel case, the Pakistani state, only because I was a whistleblower and I was, exposing the crimes against humanity in my country, and I was doing the cardinal sin, being a former army officer, a third generation Pakistani army officer. Yeah, I was exposing the crimes of my own institution with regards to the regime change operations and with regards to controlling the government over there and with regards to involvement in political manipulation, judicial manipulation, corruption. Well, that is a cardinal sin, and because of that, they got me arrested here in the UK by the counterterrorism police,
You were
saying
arrested,
that
Adil? When were you arrested?
yeah, I was arrested in 2023 by the UK's counterterrorism police for a few hours, but the case I was kept on bail for 9 months, and as per the Pakistani media reports, it was the Pakistani state which got me arrested, and under the counterterrorism laws, saying that because of my journalism, I'm I'm inciting violence in Pakistan. But the UK's counterterrorism police conducted an inquiry for 9 months and cleared me of all the charges, didn't even charge me, cleared me of all the allegations, and cleared me of all this nonsense by the Pakistani state. But that didn't stop my previous institution, which I've served as a third generation officer. They court-martialed me. They decided to court-martial me in
What were the specific
2024.
charges? What were the specific charges?
Well, the charges for the counter-terrorism was that I am inciting violence abroad.
Like,
That
what
was
did
the
you
only.
do? What proof did they show that you actually
They
incited violence? Just a few
they
tweets.
showed showed a few tweets and my live stream on YouTube, because of which they got me banned. They got my channels on YouTube terminated, and they said that there was a live stream of about 5 hours which I did with Pakistan's leading journalists who dissent from what's happening right now, and the names include Dr. Moeed Pirzada, the names include Shaheen Sahbai, who's a witness in my case as well, Colonel Syed Akbar Hussain, he's again a witness in my case. We had Wajad Said Khan. We had a lot of Haider Mehdi. We had a lot of people uh, giving live commentary on 9th of May 2023, and which was only reporting on the events in Pakistan after it had happened. And we were just reporting based on what was already public in the social media, mainly on X or Twitter, formerly Twitter. But they thought that this is what we are doing is incitement of violence, and it was reported to the,
But you've been cleared. You've been cleared of all those charges.
after 9 months of
They could find
very,
nothing.
they could find nothing. They had to end the case with a no further action. They had to drop the case. They had to bin it. So they went ahead and they court-martialed me in absentia and gave me 14 years rigorous imprisonment for the violation of Official Secret Act. Now, Geeta,
So you can
I
never
will
go
talk-
back to Pakistan, your homeland.
Yeah, my homeland, where my mother is, who got abducted by them and who is kept hostage in Pakistan. All right, so that I don't go and see her. That is.
She's not allowed to leave. She's not allowed to leave Pakistan.
No, she's practically under house arrest. Her passports have been cancelled. She was abducted on her way to the airport once she was leaving the country, alongside my uncle, who is expired, and he was a colonel in the military, a retired colonel. And now my mom is not allowed to leave because my entire family's passports have been blocked and cancelled. Their nationalities have been cancelled because I'm speaking up for the truth and for the people of Pakistan. And then they come out with this strategic lawsuit against public participation and started serving me. This is just one of the file of the notices I'm getting. All right, this is just one of the file. I've got
Imagine.
plenty of such files. All right. So they started this lawfare against me, this strategic lawsuit against public participation against me, which has been confirmed by the National Union of Journalists of the UK, that I am facing a slapp suit. All right, because they've got money to spare, they've got influence. Definitely, they've got influence in the UK, but that is not stopped. That hasn't been successful in getting me the first charge under the counterterrorism laws. So now they're trying their luck in the courts in the UK, since UK is the libel tourism capital of the world, as per the UK's Silk and the King's Council. So many have said it. I've just quoted Jeffrey Robertson. Yeah.
Okay, I will talk about the media trial, but just coming back to your family, is there any provision in the Pakistani laws that family members' passports can be rescinded, revoked, taken away, and that they can be kept in the country, not allowing them to leave at all?
What law are you talking about, Geeta? There is no law in Pakistan but martial law. And once the army chief decides that he's got to do something, he's going to do it. All right? He decides that his buddy and course mate, my brother-in-law, has to torture my sister and send her back home and snatch her son. They're going to do it, and they did it. I'm sorry for getting emotional.
No,
I've never
I understand. I know, Adil. It must be very difficult.
Yeah, but they've done it. Nobody can stop them because they've got. I mean, might is right is the rule of law. Is the law in Pakistan? Pakistan is an authoritarian state as per the Amnesty International reports, as per the Human Rights Watch. It is partially free. I say it's not free at all. Partially free, fine if you're able to fly in, fly out of Pakistan. If you stay shut, well, that's fine. All right.
That's not freedom.
Definitely not freedom. If you try to speak up, you end up in jail like Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan. The problem in Pakistan, Geeta, is that the military rules, it's a fact, and the military does not have the public mandate, particularly right now. So what they do is that they try to create chaos. And if like Imran Khan had the public mandate and he tried to build bridges with India even, right? But now the military is ruling without public mandate, so they'll create chaos like an attack was ordered in Pahalgam, which I had reported upon, and they'll plan further attacks like that, so that chaos, keeps on. People are concentrated on chaos. People are concentrated on jingoism. They don't really look into the real issues ailing the Pakistani society and the Pakistan as a country. And the Pakistani. See.
How, Adil, is the UK administration looking at this and allowing this? Like, what's the process? How did the Pakistani High Commission, did they employ to take this case forward and ensure that there's a defamation case against an individual, a dissenter who's living in exile in London? Because many people across board and advocates of media freedom are saying that this trial, and if at all you are convicted, this trial could set a very wrong precedent. How does a dissident stay in London and be safe in voicing his or her concerns about the country that he belongs to?
Yeah, well, Geeta, that's a very, I would say, pertinent observation, because the fact is that as far as the UK's establishment of the government is concerned, well, they cleared me after 9 months. They kept me hanging for 9 months. I was on bail, and the bail conditions are very strict, mind you, but I had excellent legal team which was supporting me, thankfully, who did come forward, and I had my rights, at least some of them, intact, and the case was dropped, and that is where we say that well, justice did prevail, because that was a criminal. Counterterrorism law has got a very broad interpretation. They could have really, if they wanted to take me to task, they could have taken me to task. So that tells you that the British establishment is they believes in fair play and wants to protect the dissidents. All right, so that is the intention of the British establishment is quite clear over there. But once it comes to the lawfare, well, anybody with lots of money, with millions of pounds to spare, can come to the UK and make use of the UK libel laws, which favors the claimant, which grossly favors the claimant. And they can throw in money on the reputation lawyers in London. And London is the libel tourism capital of the world for the same reasons. And because anybody can just come in, and because the burden of proof is on the defendant, not on the claimant. Like in this particular case, it's a comedy, Geeta, which is going on. The ISI sector commander, senior most officer of the biggest province of Pakistan, the Punjab, comes to the UK court while he was a serving sector commander in 2022, and he says that this man, the former Pakistan Army officer, Adil Raja turned journalist, is defaming me by saying that I am involved in political manipulation, which is a fact known even to teenage kids and everyone in Pakistan. These saying that I'm involved in controlling the judiciary in my country. Well,
Who
the
are you
judges
talking
themselves.
about?
I'm talking about this case.
No, which is the officer that you're talking about?
We are talking about the sector commander of Punjab, Brigadier Rashid Nasir, who's the face of this case for ISI.
Okay.
And he's a brigadier.
And every time there's a hearing, he has to come down to London?
Well, he's currently in London, and you'll be interested to know that he is in London and he goes to the court, but I'm not going to the court because the UK's police has given a witness statement. A senior police officer of the UK has given a witness statement to the court that Adil Raja, this guy, is under threat and he could be targeted and his life is in danger. So give him a remote link to appear in the court. What does that tell you, you know? This is the UK's police telling the court over here.
Is this a civil case, Adil, or is this a Pakistani crackdown on foreign soil?
It is a civil case, Geeta. That is why it is a civil case. But for the trial is for 4 days, and if
no, what I'm asking is that is this a civil case? Meaning, is this a joke? Because if it were a civil case, it would have been dealt with accordingly. But it seems like it's a Pakistani crackdown on foreign soil. It's almost like Pakistan is cracking down on dissent on foreign soil.
There's no doubt about it, Geeta, that it is the Pakistani Foreign Intelligence Agency which is cracking down on dissent in Pakistan, and that is why the National Union of Journalists in Pakistan, in the UK, the National Union of Journalists in the UK passed this motion which I presented, and it got passed, and the motion actually said that let me just read you a few lines of the motion, and that completely explained. I mean, these are the journalists in the UK. So they've said the solidarity with Adil Raja against slapp case, in which the branch, that is the London Freelance Journalist branch of the National Union of Journalists, the biggest journalist union in Europe, it says that Adil Raja, a freelance investigative journalist and NEJ member, is facing a strategic lawsuit against public participation initiated by the Pakistani Intelligence Agency. That the trial for defamation is scheduled to take place at the Royal Court of Justice in London from 21st to 24th July. That this case represents a significant threat to press freedom and journalistic integrity, as slapps are designed to intimidate and silence journalists through costly and vexatious legal action. All right. So they resolved that to express their full support to Adil Raja in the defense of the defense against this slap case, to circulate my press release, to encourage media coverage, to support solidarity campaign, and to invite me for further, case details. And they did invite me, and I'm really grateful to them that they are supporting me. But this is the National Union of Journalists saying all this, all right, supporting all this, because they know what's actually going on. And they do say that as UK works on case law, if this case is decided against me, there are two things. Firstly, if this case is decided against me, it will have implications for the freedom of press in the UK, in the Europe. All right, that's the first thing. That is why I was told by the Secretary General of the National Union of Journalists, who was speaking to us. They said, well, a lot of British journalists have shifted to France, because at the end of the day, if you lose this case, you lose your livelihood, you go bankrupt, you have to sell your house, you have to pay them the cost, and the cost goes in millions of pounds. So that is how, that is why people, but Europe, EU has passed anti-slap laws in 2024. So they are taking advantage of it. And that is why a lot of journalists are moving from the UK to France, but they still work in the UK. Then secondly, my witnesses, all three of them, Pakistan's senior most journalist Shaheen Sabai, a former Colonel Syed Akbar Hassan, living in the US, who was court-martialed just because he was coming on my invitations to my programs, my journalistic programs. He has been court-martialed, sentenced 14 years in prison. And Shahzad Akbar, the former accountability czar, who's a factual witness of Imran Khan's government, they are being threatened. Their families are being threatened. There is a malicious propaganda campaign going on against all four of us, and their accounts, accounts have been hacked. Shaheen Sabai Saab's account have been hacked yesterday. Kan Lakbar's account has been hacked. That I'm talking about Twitter X accounts. All right, everything is within the power of the Pakistani establishment. Is being done to hush this up. They just don't want any kind of coverage to this case. Why? Because it is exposing their soft belly. Because when the ISI comes to the British code saying that we are not involved in political manipulation, terrorism, corruption, or judicial interference, nobody believes this. Or human rights violations in Pakistan. That's what I've said. That's why they are taking me to the dock. All right. So nobody believes them. Not even kids in Pakistan believes them. But they want to use the British judicial system to get a clean check. Because, they could have bought the courts in Pakistan, but they can't do it in the UK. The prestige of getting a clean check from the UK court, it is all about that, through libel tourism, through forum shopping.
Right, Adil, how confident are you that the case would be delivered in your favor, that the ruling would be delivered in your favor? Are you confident, or are you still a little jittery about what the ISI can really do and how it can influence judgment in a London court?
Well, Geeta, there's a delicate balance, all right, and this delicate balance is definitely there. It's a 50-50% chance because there is no jury, and that is why anti-slapp campaigners want to bring back the jury in these trials. So it is all up to the judge now. Frankly, why would the judge decide? In truth defense, that yes, ISI and the Pakistani establishment is involved in election rigging, because that's what I've revealed, and that has been proven. Actually, whatsoever I've said has been proven already on ground. But if the British court is going to give that verdict, well, that will be a bit dicey, considering the balance, the foreign relations between Pakistan and the UK. So I don't think he would go over there. My legal team do not think that they'll go over there, but definitely what harm has occurred to this gentleman, firstly. Second, whatsoever I've done is I have done it. I have said it based on truth, and I've shared whatsoever I've shared in public interest. And yes, it can be very easily proven that it was shared in the public interest. Now, you cannot insult the intelligence of 250 million Pakistanis by ruling in their favor. But still, it is a delicate balance, because UK at the end of the day is the libel tourism capital of the world, and the ISI, through their officer, Brigadier Rashid Nasir, are spending lot of money. They've got the chamber, which is the former chamber of the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer.
That's right.
So what does that tell you? Yeah.
Okay, Adil, Brigadier Rashid is just a small part of the entire machinery. Who would you point your finger at in Pakistan? Not Islamabad, but in Rawalpindi.
Well, the case is the directly being, I believe that the direct involvement is of the army chief, Asim Munir is directly involved. Everything is being, and I not only believe, I believe based on credible sources in the GHQ, which tells me that Asim Munir has been apprised of the situation, what's going on, and the DGISI, Asim Malik, he is also being apprised of the situation. They want to keep it low-key because they also know that the chances of them winning is not very bright. So it can go either way. So once they're not sure, so they want to keep it low-key, and they are definitely just trying to suppress any news coverage of this event. And before this, they have covered, the Pakistani media has covered it they've cherry-picked the reporting on this case, because Pakistani media was the only media interested in the case, and the British people, they only read the English, they could only read the English media. So the English media in Pakistan is definitely being controlled by the Pakistani establishment, because they cannot go here or there and survive in Pakistan, because the Pakistani media do not operate. There's no businesses being run in Pakistan, right? So they're dependent on the advertisement budget of the state, which is controlled by the military at the end of the day. So they have to listen to them, and they have to publish the news which is being given to them by the Pakistani state, and the Pakistani state being controlled by the military. So the coverage has been very biased about this case in the English media, which has been covered. English media operating from Pakistan. So definitely they are scared. They are definitely scared. But it is being controlled by the headquarter ISI in Islamabad and by the GHQ's military intelligence in Rawalpindi. They are very much entrusted. All right. So it is a case of a dissident, and they want to shut up the dissidents. They really don't want them to. And nobody has ever exposed them, Geeta, like I've exposed them in the past 3 years. And because of me, they blame me for not being able to control the public narrative, because of the exposés I've been doing, because of the stories I've been doing, because of the investigative journalistic work I've been doing. I mean, you can
Right.
blame me if you want to by calling me a whistleblower, or calling me as a troublemaker. But whatsoever I reported became the ground reality. That is the fact.
Right. Adil, you've been rather brave about how you've taken a position and stuck to it. But are you scared? And I ask you this is because the threat is real. And I say this because, we've seen dissidents, we've seen leaders who've said there's a threat to my life, and they've lost their lives. Benazir Bhutto is an example, is a point in case. And right now, Imran Khan in a prison says that if something ever were to happen to him, then it is Asim Munir who's to blame. God forbid. But in such a scenario, given that there's a life threat that you're also facing, what do you have to say?
Geeta, if somebody says I'm not scared, I think that person is either foolish, because there is a very thin line between foolishness and bravery. And you got to be scared. Everybody has to be scared. My family is scared. Whatsoever I'm facing, my pensions, my assets, my property, my bank balances, my business, my career, my life, my mom. What else is there? Everything has been snatched away from me. And now I'm living at a police protected address. I'm in hiding. I cannot roam freely. I cannot go on any, scheduled meetings. Definitely, and it is happening for 3 years. And one of the witnesses, Shahzad Akbar, has already suffered an acid attack at his house because his address was known to the ISI. So they threw acid at his face. Here in the UK, living in London, they've thrown acid at his face, and everybody covered it. You can check it up. All right. So definitely one is scared, but then you got to be brave to fight. And I think, well, I've been groomed in a way that I've been a fighting arm officer, and I've served for 21 years in the military, although my own mother institution did not care a bit about that. Being a war wounded officer, fighting the war within, which they call the war against terrorism, they took me to task for speaking up the truth. But still, I've got them. My sources are within the Pakistani military and within the ISI. The same people, the few good men supporting me. So that is, and the Pakistanis. Now, Geeta, how am I fighting this case? How have I been able to defend myself after all my assets, my properties, my bank balances have been seized in Pakistan? All right, how have I been able to sustain myself? Because of the support of the thousands, hundreds and thousands of Pakistanis who are crowdfunding me. So that is which gives me hope, and that is why I got to be brave. I've got no other choice but to be brave, and I've got no other choice but to fight back, and I will fight back. And my training is as a fighter. Not only genetically, I'm a Rajput, Chib Rajput, but I'm also a soldier. I'm a fighter. I'll fight for the right of my people. That is the oath I had taken in the Pakistani Military Academy. I've not taken the oath to serve my generals, my bosses. I've taken the oath to serve the Constitution of Pakistan and the people of Pakistan, and I'm doing that. And the people of Pakistan want democracy. They want their mandate to be respected. They want political stability, and political stability does not come once they're because of political stability, economic stability would come. For how long would Pakistan survive on taking loans and paying back loans by taking loans and by cashing the super great power rivalry? First it was between USSR and America, and now it is between China and America, by pitching superpowers on your soil and just reaping the benefits like vultures. The problem is that all my country, the politicians who are currently ruling in the regime, the kleptocracy, the generals, they're working for the individual
Right.
interest. They're not for the national interest.
Right. Adil, the fact that you speak of political stability, how do you see that come about? We've heard of recent news of Imran Khan's sons wanting to debut. We've heard of Reham Khan wanting to launch a new party. What do you have to say about these pieces of information that's trickling in?
Well, I don't think Imran Khan's sons are interested in politics because Imran Khan's brand and the political philosophy does not believe in hereditary politics. So they're only interested in getting a relief for their father. And I think they're already too late in that. They should have started this a bit earlier. But that is their interest, as per my information. Reham Khan's party, I don't take it very seriously because I don't think maybe if the military generals support her, she might make a party, but otherwise it'll end up like there have been many parties which have become which have really which have been created and which are no more. So I mean it's not a really serious news as for if you ask any Pakistani analyst, she'll tell you that it's not a serious news. Reham Khan's party, but Imran Khan's son joining politics, I don't think that's going to happen. But they are working for the release of their father. The Pakistani military wants to keep Imran Khan in jail for as long as possible. There are talks in Pakistan of a 27th constitutional amendment by creating an emergency in Pakistan. The only way they can create an emergency is to attack India again, and if they attack and India reacts, in the military jingoism, in the war jingoism, they can take over the regime and they can pass another constitutional amendment under the emergency through which they need to put their own president in place. That is what the allegations are. And they want to put in their own prime minister, although the current prime minister is more like their personal servant, all right? But still, they want to control the office of the prime minister. That is why the army chief Asim Munir is allegedly trying to put his brother-in-law, the current interior minister, who has not won an election, by the way, has been directly planted there. He wants to make allegedly wants to make him the prime minister, and allegedly wants himself to become the president, or make some general sit as president, so that they can do the MBS style accountability and bring in billions of dollars stolen from the Pakistan exchequer, and then they can proclaim to the entire country that, listen, we have done the job which Imran Khan could not do. We have done accountability for you. And all this, as per my information, allegedly is being the plan has been devised by the chairman of the National Accountability Bureau, who is the Ustadji,
right?
Who's the mentor of the army chief Asim Munir. His name is General Nazir Butt. And General Nazir Butt is the retired General Nazir Butt was the commanding officer of the army chief Asim Munir in the 23rd Frontier Force Regiment, and they still enjoy very good relations. So that is the plan, actually. Whether they are able to succeed or not, that depends if they're able to create another warlike situation with India or not.
Right, Adil, before I let you go, my final question to you, and I have to ask you this because there's a threat to your life. God forbid, but should there be an attempt, who would you blame?
Most definitely the Pakistani military establishment, the Pakistan Army Chief, like Imran Khan said, General Asim Munir, the DGISI, Lieutenant General Asim Malik. These are the two key individuals who are ruling the country right now. So it is their orders, and their Major General Faisal Nasir and Brigadier Rashid Nasir, my witnesses in the case, are being threatened. So I know there is a real possibility of me being assassinated, like my friend Arshad Sharif was assassinated in Kenya. Only reason they haven't been able to get to me is because I'm careful, I'm trained, and then I'm in the UK. I'm being protected by the British police. I must acknowledge this, all right? At the same time, I know that this fight against fascism, it has got high stakes, and the kind of the risk to life, I understand that, and knowing fully well, I'm fighting because I believe in Faiz Ahmad Faiz, which I read as a school kid as part of my textbook that garbazi ishq ki bazi hai, jo chaho laga do dar kaisa, gar jeet gaye to kya kehna, hare bhi to bazi mat nahi. That my ishq is my country, and I'm fighting for my country, for democracy in my country, and peace is the logical way forward. I've always said it, even as a serving officer I've said it. And peace in South Asia can make South Asia become the richest region in the world. Sone ki chidiya before colonization. Don't forget that.
On that note, Adil Raja, thank you so much for joining us over here. We are hoping and wishing the best to you. Your trial starts July 21st. We'll be watching that, monitoring that case very, very closely, and we'll keep connected with you so that we get all the details on what's happening on that case. But the bigger question over here is that this case could set, should Adil Raja lose, would set a very, very wrong precedent. Why do I say that? It's not because he's being wronged or not. It's because every other country that wants to muzzle dissent on foreign soil would export censorship under the guise of defamation. And that's what this case looks like. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Geeta.